Welcome back to the Mental Health Minute. I'm Dr. Emily Mayfield, a licensed psychologist. Thank you for watching this video and being a part of the Mindset Therapy family. For today's video, I'm going to discuss why you might feel self-conscious during Zoom calls and are unhappy with how you look. But first, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. There have been several new subscribers and I thank you for joining the Mindset Therapy family. As the number of subscribers grows, the channel can also grow and work towards reducing the stigma of mental health. By subscribing to this channel, you'll receive information on all things mental health while connecting with others. The days of meeting in person for work meetings, school, or even just weekly get-togethers might seem like something from a long forgotten past. Most interactions with people have now been moved to video calls, primarily with platforms such as Zoom or Skype. As you've transitioned to interactions via video teleconferencing, you might have noticed how uncomfortable you feel looking at yourself on the screen. Video conferencing is the way of the future, but how do you adjust if you don't like how you look? While you have seen yourself many times in the past, when you look at yourself via video conferencing, you might feel awkward or uncomfortable with what you see. One reason for this is you don't normally stare at yourself when you talk during in-person meetings, but with many Zoom calls, you're watching yourself talk. When you gave a presentation in the past, you were looking at others and not aware of yourself and how you look. Many of the teleconferencing platforms have you on the screen and you're watching yourself as you talk. You're now seeing what others have always seen, but it just doesn't feel normal. It might be hard to stop looking at yourself, and this can be distracting to you and others in the meeting. Another reason you might feel self-conscious and uncomfortable on Zoom calls is because of the difference in what nonverbal cues you see over video versus in person. Communication is as much, if not more, nonverbal as it is verbal. Verbal communication are the words that are being said. Nonverbal communication would include your posture, presence or absence of eye contact, tone of voice, and gestures. The best way to illustrate the importance of nonverbal cues in communication is with text messages and emails, which lacks many nonverbal cues. When there is an absence of nonverbal cues, our mind comes up with the most likely possibility of how the other person was thinking or feeling. And this is often not with a positive spin due to pre-existing biases that may be present or our own insecurities. During video teleconferencing, you do see the other person, but they're often small, pixelated, and the internet may be lacking and there are awkward pauses in the conversation. You're not really sure if they're listening or can even hear you. The nonverbal cues are varied and unpredictable when relying on the speed and quality of an internet connection. When communication relies so much on nonverbal cues, the absence of these cues can make you feel self-conscious when interacting with others. A last factor for why you don't like how you look on Zoom calls can be due to something called the confirmation bias. Put simply, the confirmation bias states we see and believe what we want to. When we have certain pre-existing beliefs, we find things that support that belief because it lines up with our way of thinking. Those things that don't match our beliefs get thrown out. For your appearance, you see yourself as you think you look. If you think you have a big nose or bags under your eyes, this will be all that you can focus on when you're staring at yourself during the video calls. Your pre-existing thoughts about your appearance train your focus on those certain areas of concern and highlights their appearance to you. It's important to remember, people aren't seeing you any different than they normally do. They aren't seeing a new version of you because of video calls. It's all new to you and only you. You have not been looking at yourself in meetings, but they have. Other people are also struggling with the absence of many nonverbal cues, so think of it as in all being on a level playing ground. Focus on the words in the calls and less on interpretation of what something can mean by the nonverbal cues you did receive. The more you practice being on video calls, the easier it will be to do. This is a transition for many people, and as with most things, practice helps it become more familiar. Comment below on whether you have felt uncomfortable during Zoom calls and whether some action or thought helped you. Also, if you enjoyed the content of this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to be a part of the Mindset Therapy family. I look forward to seeing you at the next video. Have a good day.